Normally I do like a couple minutes to let people kind of trickle in and bleed in, but we're already like a
Yeah.
minute over time for what I told people the schedule was for this. So we're just gonna jump right into it. I, of course, am Sam Tate, Ace Maneuvers. I'm joined by your world champion, George Rangel. George, how you feeling tonight, pal?
I'm feeling pretty good. I just watched the Mario movie. Straight chilling.
Oh, nice, nice. There's a new one, right? I think I've seen a bunch of
Yeah.
commercials. Um,
It's pretty gas. I liked it a lot actually.
Yeah, I it's super funny. I'm not like a movie dude at all. We talked about it even on stream, I think at Worlds. I was like the last movie I'd seen was like an Avengers movie or something. I don't even remember what it said. And I immediately had like friends of mine who are not UniVersus players like messaging me on Discord like, "You liar, we watched a movie together on Discord." Like so I've spent the last couple weeks like once a week we'll get together and we're watching through like the old Godzilla catalog, like all the 1980s and 90s Godzillas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Those are heat.
it's been pretty sick. We started with Biolante, and we watched like Space Godzilla and the one with Jet Jaguar tag teaming up against like Megalon and Gigan or
Oh
Gigan.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Those
very
are
sick.
really good.
Yeah, yeah. So it
With
was
the
so
funny
good.
kick.
It was actually so good. I forgot that's where the dropkick meme was from. Like everyone knows the Super Godzilla like
Yeah.
dropkick, which my one slop from the Godzilla set is monumental dropkick is not a secret rare.
True, that'd be gas, but it wasn't.
That card, honestly, dude, if you just maybe take ranged off destructive heat ray, make it like a slam kick. I think monumental might even be make it a slam kick and just change the text. Like just make monumental dropkick the one that flips something and like it's so hype. Anyways,
It's
I
another set. Another set. Another set.
yeah. But today we had a surprise ban list, which we can talk about a little bit if you want. But it really made me think about a topic I've been kind of mulling over in my head, and I'll probably still make like a video about it sometime soon. Um, just because I've spent so much time thinking about it. But like, what makes a card powerful in universes to you, George?
The keyword, it's definitely there. No, I'm just playing. For real, the for me, what I look for in cards I want to break in deck specifically are like repeatability and how fast can you get it online.
Right.
If you can get it online by turn two and it's like at full power or something, then it's be broken and like just super worth it.
Okay. It's a
A
pretty good.
yeah, sorry. A good example would be Science Bros. So many decks, just like if you build it, you're you're going to win the game if you can kill them really fast. Like in Gaigan, if you build it turn two, you're probably sending out like 10 damage moves with like 8 speed behind them or something every single time.
Yeah, Science Bros is definitely a consistency question, and the characters that just automatically that's what they do, right? Like Rodan, Geigen, stuff like that. Even
Yeah, yeah.
imagine if the new King Ghidorah. Oh my goodness! Every time you cycle the card, if you can every attack trigger the 1/1, it's considered pretty much a staple. I think.
Correct.
Um,
Almost every deck that wants it runs it at a four of, even though it is unique, just because it's that good, right?
Yeah, and that's it's super funny you mentioned that because I was just having a conversation. I think it was in Coping with Cardboard's Discord. Um,
Hmm.
it was it's a card I start at a four of on every deck list, and then by the end of playing the deck, I've taken it like completely out. I might leave a one of if I have like a Hunter's Ally suite, and my character always activates it, and it's just crazy because I think it's just the type of player I am. Because when I think of powerful cards, this isn't, I guess, my definition of powerful for universes, but when I think of powerful cards, I generally think of the text on the card. right? And the text could be that it buffs its own stats. You know, cards that buff their own speed and damage, very, very good. Um, but it's very hard to impress me with a card that is just numbers. And so a good example is probably Walk the Dog, where the text on it
Mhm.
modifies the numbers to be like well above rate, right? Like we think of it as a 4 diff, 6 low 6, and then it's got three other abilities, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I always think of the text on cards, even though the stats of a card, the attributes, the control, the difficulty, even the block mod definitely play a factor in it. But I think those cards are always really what gives us the context more for what makes a powerful card rather than it being the reason. Like like you look at a card like Inspiring Song versus a card like Syndicate Target, right? Like
Yeah.
Inspiring Song has one of the best abilities. It has some of the best text, and it's really good because of the text it doesn't have. Because its check hack ability can end turns, and then it's
Mhm.
above average control on top of that. And then Syndicate Target has one less difficulty, a way better block mod, arguably a better zone, and then all of a sudden it has to have a downside.
Yeah. To me, cards like the newly released KOF asset Team Hero, everyone's talking about it. That's a really good one. It has a one high block. It's a two diff, so it's like easier to build anyway. And then it builds a four or less from discard power. It's a tutor, so like it's not even a two diff. It's like a 1 0 through 4. But and then the enhance on it for damage is also pretty good. You can get online, but everybody like just uses it to get the foundation for discard power, which I think is almost always correct anyway.
Yeah, I when it comes to like building foundations, my brain immediately went to daily trading and how like the best feeling thing is
That's
actually just to build more daily trainings and just have more volume.
yeah, like the daily training into daily training to into something else is like really good as well.
Yeah.
It just has like a better version of new training method. It's just missing the response, right? But like whatever, like you're just like the whole point of it is to build more, and then if you can kill them that turn, it's better to build it and then build more, right? It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, just like the sheer amount of ramp, right? And a lot of
Mm.
times not even building something else relevant, especially if it's another daily training. Like technically you're just building another face down to then have
Yeah.
another card, and it makes you really think like, okay, how much power is in just having one extra resource? This is something that we've in the past gated pretty heavily. I don't know how long you've been playing. um did you play during like the command pigeon flock
Yeah.
friend of animals era?
Yeah.
Like for the longest time people were playing decks where the only ally foundations you could were like Wild Wild Pussycats and Friend of Animals, and it was like
Hmm.
staples in those. And it's a big part of the conversation, of course. I think is context, and I think that's always where a lot of people really get hung up on the conversation of like, well, how powerful is this card? Because obviously the format you're playing it in going to detail how powerful you think it is. A card not going to have the same weight necessarily in retro that it does in standard. And I used to argue with people that like set one was very like high power level in the sense that I think each individual card held more weight. Building one extra resource mattered even more back then. Drawing one extra card when every card had a block modifier. You know, we've since
Yeah.
introduced a couple non-blocks, which is interesting. You know, they used to be way more common, like unusable block mods and cards with absolutely no used to be really powerful, really common staple type cards. And so especially if they added another card to your hand, you would get away with the non-block a lot more often. I found because you would just build it to replace it later. So that was a big part of the equation. But sometimes you would build it and then draw another non-block, right? So
Yeah.
back when MHA every card had a block, like just drawing one extra card felt so much different than it does. um, despite being like you know inherent parts of the game that you pretty much have to engage with. When's the last time you saw a deck that didn't draw cards?
It's been a while, yeah. It's like
Like,
almost every set has introduced like a flip draw or just a character that raw has more cards value to your hand. It's like every set they introduce more and more draw. It's just so tough to like passing the torch was one of the best cards in like MHA one, right? Because it was just commit
yeah,
draw. Intuitive commit draw one. And like that was premium. Now you have cards that do it for free. That like just flip or just say if you do damage, draw a card. Like that's just the way it is now. The power scaling of back then to now is like so high that we've gotten.
and yet it's really funny because some things stay the same because we've got
Hmm.
Godzilla versus Biollante now, and
Yeah.
the fact that it has one of the best deadlocks historically in the game, would obviously weigh into the overall power level discussion. But I think a lot of people are really hype on those symbols because they have returned to 2/5 e commit draw a card, and it even
Hmm.
has a little more upside on top of that, which is crazy to think about. And yet, the basic game mode of it is, at least in cases where I'm using it, is functionally identical to passing the torch. And so, as
Yeah.
far away as we get from set one MHA, some things really do stay the
Yeah, like right now we have um I forget what it's called, but it's the Nagoriyuki 2-diff flip draw one. And that's all it
same. What do you
has.
fight for?
Mm, yeah, that's all it has, but it's like still used because it's a draw one.
Do you know the
Like that's
one that I
just
hate?
which one?
The one that I can't stand is the same thing, but it's the first. Um,
Oh
gr-
yeah.
growing unease or growing unease.
Yeah. The
It,
AOT one, I think.
yeah, it's so much
Yeah.
worse because it's a first in hand. I've been playing a lot of excuse me of like Good Symbol, Queen of the Monsters with Toru 2 and with Benimaru. And the Good Symbol is like so desperate for card draw, like playing blasting off and trading 3 momentum to draw 3 cards feels like an insanely, good play for the Good Symbol right
Yeah.
now. And I don't know how good sinking 3 momentum into 7 high 9 is, but it's pretty good to draw 3 cards at any point in the game. So I don't know. The Good Symbol though. I'm like looking at it, and the the rate at which I can build it and then not use it next in hand is so painful, dude.
Yeah, it's a worse calling for backup. That's what I like to think of it as. Since calling for backup, you could still draw even afterwards.
Yeah,
The calling for backup had to be the first one you did anyway. It wasn't a first enhance, but it basically was.
yeah.
Unless you were
Well,
fine with cycling.
and I'll tell you what. I run into plays, especially with the Benimaru deck, where I'm spending all my momentum specifically so I can use Fearsome Transformation as calling for backup, which it was pretty rare to see calling for backup used intentionally this way, but now the power level around and just the sheer cards around um, Fearsome, has made it so I want to discard the card. I my deck
Yeah.
where Fearsome is always a +1, I now also need to discard the Hunter's Ally so I can or discard the ally card so I can play Hunter's Ally. Now I need to discard
Hmm.
um, the card my Hunter's or my Team Hero 15 is gonna build. Like that's come up for me so often that it's really surprising. The power of fearsome transformation includes its quote unquote downside. And I think those are
Yep.
always the most like fond remembered cards, the most like cards are the ones that really are powerful, but you don't consider them like the earth shaking, game changing sort of, you know, playmaker cards. They're always the supporting cast that people look back fondly at.
Yeah, if you were to look back like on let's say rescue completed, right? Like that card was very good. Like it had a 3 difficulty and 2 mid block, I think. Or was it too high? I forget.
Yeah.
But that card was repeatable. It gave -2 speed all the time for Community Foundation, and then its second enhance readied face downs, so it fueled itself. Sure, you lost itself, but you gained an extra one, so you essentially gave -3 speed one time. But since it's like
Yeah.
just repeatable, it got played with cards like release. So you got -2 and then +2 to your check, so essentially -4 speed on every single move. Cards and combos like that are like really, really strong. And it's just because when paired together, even when they're not paired together, right, it's still really good. But when they're paired together, it becomes a wall you think you just can't bypass. And
Yeah.
if you can keep drawing with cards like passing the torch, then it makes it even like more turbo, like unwinnable. It feels so bad, yeah.
Yeah, release is crazy because I think we've seen like two or three different versions of it. And it's been I've seen it as a 0-4, as a 1-4, and as I think a 2. Except the 0-4 is the only one that ever let you destroy. Um, there's
Yeah.
Haunted by Loss, which is the 1-4, and then there's Generous Gambler, which is the 4. And I believe those both of those required you to destroy a face down, which I mean that's what we're doing 90% of the time with release, anyways, right? Outside maybe like early set one format and early game. Um,
Yeah.
but and it's funny you brought up release because it's one of the paramount examples of as time has gone on, they've shifted power away from like lower difficulty foundation. Zeros were like often better than twos in set one. Am I wrong on that, or is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. They were like super premium, yeah.
Yeah, like I think I would have played requesting assistance as a two div, especially in set one.
Yeah.
Um,
That's 2 diff still I think would be like very
yeah,
good.
yeah, two div just again like that symbol's version of ramp. Basically, have one
Mhm.
extra foundation this turn. So good. So yeah, but they've shifted it away, and it was funny for me to hear like newer MHA players talk about this. People who came in with MHA were talking about how well they've really shifted the power away from foundations and more towards attacks. And I thought that was super funny because that's how I felt about the entirety of UniVersus. Like my whole career with UniVersus. Hey Marvin, thank you for the 28 months. My whole career with UniVersus has been like, man, foundations just get worse and worse, and attacks just get better and better. And while MHA had like the full power scaling reset, I don't think I quite appreciated how much it put the strength back into foundations. Because you're talking about like passing the torch and calling for backup and stuff. Those were instrumental to a lot of the like
Yeah.
early successful decks, along with water decks having like the only draw two. Everyone who
Mhm.
came from any other card game was like, oh my god, this draws two. We have to play this. Um, and it kind of like reset the clock where it's like, okay, now we're gonna start back to where foundations are really good because just drawing any 4 high 4, drawing any 4 diff attack just mattered so much back in set one as long as you're playing more than your opponent.
Yeah,
And
cards like a hardened jab, right? Or 3 mid for 5 and picked one up and built one down whenever you wanted.
right.
It was, or sometimes you picked up nothing because there had no face downs, and you just build a new one for free. Like it was, yeah. There's so many interactions where, like in MHA one forward, the amount of times um, your attack's abilities made your foundation. What's the way to explain it? Your foundation had better text because your attack existed. Like there's just been
Right.
so many times where that's like existed. Like call what was it called? Pull no punches. Pull no punches giving like Detroit Smash the momentum it needs to give you more momentum on Detroit Smash's in hands itself. was super like insane to me back then because that meant that you got to give it like powerful 8 or something, and all of a sudden you're dying to your second attack, and you're just not prepared for it. But I think foundations as a whole, um, back then were insanely overpowered. Like it can't be fixed. All the zero dips were busted. A lot of the a lot of the three dips, one of them got banned immediately, right? The Kirishima One Foundation.
Oh, coordinated effort, yeah, because
Yeah, like this, like they just did so much. They had a lot of text for cards
it,
that were just there.
it's really funny too to look back and think about how many cards could clear the card pool on set one's
Yeah,
release, you know, and like there's probably a world where you go back, especially with like unerrated Kirishima One, where you can free build to like make up for it and stuff and like build on. But like you could be playing four pull no punches and playing like some number of coordinated effort, and you could be playing the Jiro asset that readies coordinated effort, and you could be playing passing the torch. You know, and it's like all your moves are like for base numbers, but you could just be clearing every single attack that gets played basically, and building more foundations while doing it, and looping them back to your hand.
yeah. I think like one of the biggest offenders of that was like Momo One or Jiro One when they were playing Stab Strike card, because they Momo One especially since she got to play cards for free and then build down said cards because they're no longer needed, and you can patch your checks more. You can continuously build foundations that you built in using the doesn't count towards progressive or whatever. And then create capture net, stuff like that. Like Momo One just had access to so many build cards that her enhance to destroy one felt like non-existent. And then even when you did, you got to just build another one and then remove one to pick up the one you're gonna kill them with. And it just like wasn't like the recursion of resources was just a lot. Like for sure.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too to look back at um like the different ban lists, right? And we're talking about, you know, powerful cards. You got to imagine that cards that were powerful enough to get banned would be like the cream of the crop. But at the same time, there's cards that get banned for like play experience. Like, for example, would you consider the Mark Tyner ban more of a power level thing or more of a play experience thing?
Definitely a play experience thing. It for sure is a play experience thing.
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, I played through it for the first time ever at Worlds, and it just wasn't fun against like just wasn't fun to play against it. It felt strong enough to where it was like sure this takes games. I understand why it wins, but it was just more annoying and cringe than like anything. It was just like a mosquito. I had to keep swatting at it and just like wouldn't die.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that was a lot of people's take. That was mine from the beginning. Was I don't think it's good enough to like steamroll events, but it's good enough to like, you know, ruin your day, basically. Um,
Yeah.
a bracket demon type deck. So like, I, I I'm fine with it just because as somebody who likes check hacks to end turns, like wants to stack breakers and like play a hard control. That deck was like so not appealing to me, and I think that they preserved the thing that you should play Mark Tyner for, which is you get to double up on unique foundations.
Yeah.
You know, so
I
I think
think that part is neat. Like being able to have two uniques are pretty cool.
like
It's just a like
that's the
yeah,
interesting
go ahead.
deck building part, right? Like that's like
Yeah, yeah.
the sink your
The
teeth into
puzzle.
having, yeah. You get to have two normalcies.
Sorry, hang on. My earphones just died randomly. I didn't get a
Oh,
warning or anything. Give me a
fun.
second.
Yeah, but yeah, so I think looking back at the banned cards, I think it's mostly attacks. Like, let me actually count this up because I'll use I guess the spotlight format. The retro ban list is like almost all characters. Basically, just like this character, and then why did we ban Suspicious of Mr. X? Is that a
All right,
infinite? There's probably an infinite
I'm
like
back. Sorry.
destroys it. So hey, what's up? But so I wanted to take a look at the old ban list, and I want to count up how many non-attacks versus attacks there were, even just like attacks versus foundations. Because we have coordinated effort, amphibious, capture evildoers, ready, get, set, go, one with nature, snack time. That's 6 non-attacks, um, and 2 of them are actions. What, 3
Yeah.
are foundations? No, 3 are
For
four are foundations. Yeah, and then there was wait, that counter on coordinated, stronger. I missed stronger in darkness. Coordinated,
yeah.
stronger, amphibious, capture evildoers, ready, get set, go. One with nature, snack time. Yeah, so 7 of them,
Mhm.
and 5 were foundations. So then we had unwavering slash, frog lashing, crow and frog takedown, back alley haymaker. So 4 attacks versus basically 4 foundations. Um, that's pretty even. But then if you look at like the current standard format, it's Immortal Shapeshifter, VME, 9 times throughout the ages, and Equipment Heist versus Mob Strike, Risky Encounter, Teaming with the Attack Titan, Sweeping Daggers, and Unyielding Destruction. So it's a nearly even split, but I really feel like cards like Teaming with the Attack Titan and Unyielding Destruction are like vastly different than cards like Immortal Shapeshifter and Mob Strike.
Yeah. I think yeah, cards like Immortal Shapeshifter were probably done for player experience. Since well, I guess it was also like kind of broken, but I think there are many decks that can play around it. Like Krista can definitely just play around it, but the idea of the decks that were using it making attack 0, it's just like it just like felt so bad. And like people just hated it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think most of it was just for player experience, but also unyielding was pretty bad. I think like the truly broken ones were teaming, heist, um, I guess twisting azure, but that's a rotated card.
rotated
But like
now. Yeah,
those,
it was kind of
yeah,
weird. That
those were
was
like,
like an early rotation band.
yeah, those were like the most egregious ones. I think probably like the most powerful attacks. Oh, and risk encounter, risk encounter. Those attacks were like the most broken attacks in the game. Sweeping
That
daggers, I also understand. I think it should have left, but I also like I think it was kind of okay, but it like
one was
restricted so many
50-50.
attacks.
I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I think it's a lousy play experience to have your rival get even a 5 diff. Like it was super funny because the higher difficulty stuff like stealing colossal confrontation is open ended enough that like every deck probably wants. But most people are
Yeah.
complaining about stealing like Patchwork Baby and stuff, like things
Hmm.
that were like counting what the attack does, like counting the keyword. Now all of a sudden it also gets like Weapon Fury, you know, was like super annoying. Um,
Also, stealing stuff like True 100 was just like insane.
yeah, or like
Stealing, yeah,
stealing echoes so you could double
yeah,
dip on the
echoes.
beep steal was
Yep,
like
yep, yep.
super frustrating. So I think it was mostly I think sweeping was 50-50. I think it was good enough that it was being 4x in decks that had otherwise completely fraudulent offenses. Like let's be fairly real about that. like without sweeping daggers, a lot of defensive decks really took a hit, I think. Um that deck was carrying like a lot of 7 hand size air and void defensive packages, and it was making like 7 hand size death characters like feel very, very, very aggressive. But it was mostly when it was stealing like a 5 diff value piece that it felt really nasty to me rather than like Beast Titans attacks, like the higher difficulty
Yeah.
stuff really kind of relied on having like a 7 mid 7 body to back up this idea that you're going to sacrifice a backup and make this, or it's going to transform into something cool later, like like Sweepy Daggers doesn't benefit from that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think it's really interesting to see like where we were at even just a year, where Mob Strike was the culprit. Like we have to stop you from
Yeah.
drawing a random card, stop your opponent from being forced to draw a random card, and yet Botan's unplayable. You add this effect to another deck that solves the problem of adding damage to things, but you have the effect that is effectively ban worthy printed on a character and they can't find the damage, right? And so a lot of times when I think of powerful cards, to kind of get back on track here, I think of cards that can end the game. I think of how much weight can I put behind one single card to get me closer to and or eventually win the game, or relatively for defensive cards stop my opponent from winning the game. Which is why I like hard control check hacks at end the turn, because that's like the realest way, to turn back and survive. Um,
Yeah.
and
Like
so
Breaker 3 is like really good most of the time. Yeah, stuff
yeah,
like that.
the amount of times though I've put like Breaker 7 down, and my opponent's like, all right, I'll commit 2 foundations to play a 1 diff, and then just finish their attack string is pretty high. Um, and like with TOT, here Titan of Terror here, Breaker 7 looks stupider than ever. So
Yeah, it'll just be like, okay, cool. No, this one's gonna kill you. Gonna play for free.
yeah,
It's whatever.
yeah, it's really rough too because I was like, all right, well, I'll just instead of playing all the Breaker cards, I'll play Dragon's Fortitude, and I'll discard Momentum with Theo out and get -5 damage. But everyone's also playing Guardian Angel, so we're gonna have to figure it
Yes,
out.
it just doesn't matter. Yeah.
That's a one of my favorites. Okay, so is I love to turn the knob on a card that's really powerful and see if it's still powerful. For example, Guardian Angel of Chinatown, when it first debuted, a lot of people were talking about this card is absolutely insane, busted, over the top, whatever. But at the time, I don't think there were that many good water characters at all. Um, and we hadn't gotten to a world where anything outside of like referee jury and um,
Nine Titans.
Nine Titans was around. Yeah, so it was like there was definitely like some really meta relevant threats, but people weren't really like relying on like the full DR. And if they were relying on the full DR, they were like gonna force you to have it for every attack or something. Right? Like you can block the one that they guardian angeled and then but now
Hmm.
now we're at a point where you can build guardian angel really really easily. um the Biolante decks can pick it up. You can build it with Team Hero and Hunter's Ally. I'm building it with Toru and like 5 different cards. Like 5 different cards are dedicated to building me Swoop In or Guardian Angel of Chinatown, right? Because if I make something
Yeah.
unblockable, then I need to solve the damage reduction problem. So like there's
I think the funniest thing I've had recently was having my opponent block my attack. I respond with analytical observation, flip it, play the next one, play canister creation, and then remove the face down and build back in another
right.
analytical. So it's so many one diffs just like have such powerful effects because of cards. Because like you said earlier, because of text it doesn't have. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't say non-character ability on Guardian Angel. It just says anything, right?
Yeah. But so can would you play it as a 2/5 at anywhere near the rate you do as a 1/5?
It'd probably be a sideboard piece. And if I'm mainboarding it, I'd probably play two instead of like three.
Okay.
I think with like the place we're at right now is you're probably gonna need it with like Roman cancels, with Ghidorah two
Yeah.
specifically. Just a
Violante.
bunch of cards. Yeah, Biolante, like a bunch of cards right now are just saying set it to this damage or make it not lethal anymore. And all of a sudden they can't do that because it's still gonna be lethal.
Yeah, so that's the other crazy part is we've got the guardian angel of Chinatown, and it's attuned to the symbol that is probably the best at generating power tokens. And power
At the moment,
tokens
yeah.
are also a thing that's making like damage resets just not very appealing.
Yeah, I think with like the play pattern of Titan of Terror and going, here's Shinoshugeki, I don't care what you do with it, as long as I get to keep responding and tapping your board. Like I just don't care.
Yeah.
Responding and
Yeah,
tapping
like
your
at that
board.
point
Like I
the
just
mode is not even for damage, right?
it's just to stun you out and then this next one kills you. GG, shake my hand. Like
Yeah. So I want to talk about power tokens for a second, but first I have to mention been showing this beautiful, amazing trading post power token on screen, and I'm being told that you can get these at Trading Post local championship. And so I got a little video playing on the stream here. If you guys can see, the actual ones have a dial at the top, so you can keep track of how many power tokens you have and how to spend them and things like that. And so looks like it goes all the way up to 15. So they're up to 50. I don't think I've seen anyone with 15 power tokens yet, but and gear players can prove me wrong whenever they want. But yeah, so those are really cool. I'm super excited to get one. Top eight at the Trading Post local championship are all going to get one of those really cool power token trackers, and I'm stoked for the LC. It's going to be $600 to the first place player. I think there's a chance it goes up if a bunch of people sign up, but it's only a week away. Are you going, George? Are you headed to Michigan?
yeah, I am.
Wait, really? You're going to be there?
Yes, I will
Oh,
be
I
at
was
the
bullshit.
Trading Post LC.
Oh, that's sick. I
uh,
didn't know you were going to be there.
uh, I I kind of had to. Um, I I told Tree I was gonna go. I was like, all right,
Okay,
I got
sick.
to do this. So realistically, uh, I'm gonna stay with DeQuavius Bingleton, Elijah for Friday, and then we're gonna drive over early on Saturday. And that's like the only
Okay.
reason I'm going is because I didn't have to pay for like a hotel or anything. Otherwise, it'd be a little too expensive for me. But yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
I know how that goes. I'm going to be there. I think I'm going to be there Friday, Saturday, and I think I'm leaving Sunday night. I have to double check. But
Yeah,
yeah,
me
I'm definitely
too.
gonna be there. It's gonna be one of like three events I'm gonna play in this year, so it's gonna be pretty sick. And yeah, I was really stoked because I wanted the Queen of the Monsters. The all Queen of the Monsters are super tight, but then I saw these power tokens, and I am excited to check that out too.
Yeah, they look insane. Like truthfully, and if it's only going to top eight, then I have to sweat, which sucks because
Yeah,
I wanted to hand out wins. Since I already have my invite, I don't have to care, right? I also have a playset of my Queen of the Monsters already, and I have the top eight, the champion already of the destructive heat rays. So I didn't really care too much, but money is pretty good, and now the power token, so I have to try a little harder now.
yeah. No, that's if you hear about the integrity of results, just put a fat cash prize on there, and then all of a sudden it's not about
True.
invites anymore, right?
It's a competitive event. When you put cash on it, it'll be one for sure.
So let's talk power tokens because power tokens ostensibly are just very similar to powerful, the keyword, right? And if we're talking about what is power in universe, the quickest and most obvious answer is damage. Damage is how you win the game typically if you're not a cool deck with a cool alternate win con that they won't ever print. We've gotten so many sets without an alternate win con, dude.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, the last one was in Yu Yu Hakusho, I think. Yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho with
Yeah.
Deathmatch Cage. Yeah,
The powerful keyword, of course, just giving damage, reinforces this idea. So when I first saw the power token, I was not super impressed. I was not excited about the the text on it. Enhanced sacrifice +2 damage. That doesn't make me think it's very powerful. But it does convey the theme of strength, of power. And really, the power comes in having lots of them.
yeah,
Um, and I love that they did a cycle where you can do other things with them. That was the big thing for me. Was if the power tokens are literally only here to be generated to be cashed in for damage, then I was not going to be excited at all about them.
yeah. But since they gave us like the minus check or reduce damage to one, the other one just gives stats, right? A lot of the interactions that they gave cards that interacted with power tokens, I think was nice. I think that was pretty cool.
The cycle where it's like supposed to be each symbol's identity, I think is very cool. Um, I love ideas like that. Most people like cycles. Magic has like color cycles for things, and that's always a hit. So if you are gonna do like a core set mechanic around it, like that's I think what Roman cancels were really kind of missing was because it has four abilities on it already, and because it's just the keyword get Roman cancel, like that's all it does. I think that
Yeah.
we really missed out on like interesting ways to use the Roman cancel because of how powerful it already was. Whereas making the power token something relatively minute allowed them to play around with it a bit more.
The yeah, I think like I probably would have been fine with Roman cancels if it wasn't like the attacks on it did nothing. Like the best one you have is blood sucking because it's a throw, gives you health, and gives you a Roman cancel token.
Yeah.
That's like the best one. Other than that, there's a bunch of like do nothing tension moves, which in fairness makes sense because you have to balance Roman cancel somehow. Give it bad text or give the attacks the bad text, and the Roman cancel stays powerful.
Yeah, it's almost like imagine it's better than because you get it immediately, but it's like imagine if every card had like face up momentum text, right? Like electric jolt style or vast hybrid
Yeah,
chimera kraken. But it was just all the text of the Roman cancel. Like if every one of those cards just had four abilities on them, you know, theoretically you get to use most of them immediately. Like those cards would probably look a lot better. But at the same time, there's so many of them, and they don't do anything necessarily immediately. Like, yeah, it was just tough. And the fact that it's an actual momentum that you can spend for other things is all the versatility you could
hmm
probably really afford. Um, would you say, considering everything around them, do you think power tokens are more powerful than Roman cancel tokens?
at the state of the game we're in, yeah. At
Okay.
this very moment, I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'd agree a little bit. I think it's kind of funny. Supposedly the Roman cancel beats the power tokens, right? Because of the timing of it, which is really kind of neat. But for the most part, the power tokens are just so versatile as far as when you get to use them and what they really like can turn into. The only thing that I'm really afraid of, and power token is like generic enough that we might see it again. But if we don't get any other power token support, similar to like if we don't get any other tension attacks, it's going to be really hard to justify, coming up on 2027 to play Gunflame Feint.
Yeah.
Unless spells get like a huge support boost, I don't know.
I mean, spells are fine. They brought them back right after Hex Critical Role set. I think that was
Yeah,
the first instance of spell. Oh, actually, the
the
challenger decks were
starter
first.
decks. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then they brought it back and gave us more support for characters like Jester Lavore, the first one. But even then, they don't use the tension moves most of the time, which is sad because they're just not good enough.
yeah. And there's only one of them, but one of the Sung Jin Woo shadow attacks is, but it's on like
Yeah,
kind of the wrong symbols for spell support. So
yeah, it did. I think it had the other symbols that weren't in hex, right? That's what it was.
yeah, it has all on it, and then it's like death and
Yeah.
life. So like life
Mhm.
is kind of a spell symbol, but not really,
Yeah.
you know. But it does
It's
enhance to remove and add a. So I did include it in my Jester Lavore deck where I'm playing 4 Harness Undeath as my win con, and then I'm playing 4 Shadow Sorcery as like another spell I can pick up. But it's also a 4 low 4 with a +1 high block, so it's like super redundant for that case.
Yeah, picking up a block zone with like Jester Lavore is pretty good. And it being a one high just makes it like fine and like easy to give it a slot simply because it does many things for you. It
Yeah.
gives you the Jester effect without having to spend a momentum, which is good. And then one high block, like you said, and it's an attack and it builds down, right? Like it just provides good utility in specifically Jester Lavore.
Yeah, yeah. It's very much like Jester text. I mean, if Harness Undeath was a huge part of your deck and you're like doing backup stuff, like it sounds like it should go together. It's just really sad that it it's too like it's just a little too redundant. Like maybe if you're playing mono lows,
Yeah.
mono low life spells and having the extra high block isn't that big a deal. I don't know. Um, Let me ask you this, George, because I gotta get prepped for our next guest here. Um, what do you think is the most powerful card in Standard right now? Post, well, I guess we'll say post new ban list because that technically doesn't come into effect until the 13th.
Yeah. So for Foundation, it's probably Batra arrives or imprisoned. Those are like the two best foundations right now at the moment. And
Okay,
then
going
for
with the foundation.
attacks, yeah, the
No,
attacks
no,
are
I just want the
probably
card, man. You gotta give me like
oh,
one
then
card. You
yeah,
gotta pick one.
it's definitely just Batra arrives. I think that's like the most
Better
probably
than
like
any
premium.
attack.
Yeah, I think it's super premium right now.
Okay, I can
Like
dig it.
it stops science bros. It stops a bunch of repeatable enhances. It stops static enhances. Like
Okay,
it even stops enhances on play that they're used on enhance or response. It stops stuff that gets removed. It's just so weird. That card like it's just so good right now.
it stops breaker, which is tight.
It stops breaker. Yeah, it's so stupid.
You can ready it and then do it again because order
Hmm.
and air have like weirdly good and void really. Although actually, I think the void ready stuff might have rotated, but yeah, those are like pretty okay symbols for readying foundation.
But yeah, I think Bachelor Rise is just premium.
Okay,
It's the best foundation slash card in the game right now for me.
I'm gonna save my answer probably for later because I'm gonna have Pippa join us in just a few minutes here. But thank you, George, for hanging out with me and talking a little bit about the scope, I guess, the metaphysics of power in universes, and yeah, Bachelor Arrives is a pretty good pick.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for having me. It was fun. I love chatting, love talking to people.
Well, I'm excited to see you at the Trading Post local championship. I didn't even know you were going, but now I'm excited to see you.
Yeah, I'm excited to see everybody there. Take it down with Bad Checks Geigen, Just play
Bad
12
checks,
attacks,
Geigen.
turn two.
There's no way you're playing bad checks, Geigen. I don't believe you.
I got second with it
Yeah,
at the
is it
other
air
SC.
Geigen so you can play Bachelor Arrives?
It's evil Geigen because you get
Oh,
incubating.
this guy's over here. He's like, I'm naming Bachelor because it beats my incubate. Your three
It
diff
does
beats my
beat my
one diff.
science bros, yeah. It does
And
beat my
Science
science
Bros,
bros.
yeah. You literally just named the card that beats your deck.
Hey, it does. It does indeed do that. That
That's
just means it gets to commit it. It's fine. It's just commit fodder now. I don't care.
that's the truest card gamer answer is whatever card stops me from doing my shenanigans.
It is true, sadly. But I mean, whatever. Just play through it. Who cares?
All right, man. I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one, brother.
Dude. All right, folks. I'm gonna take a small, tiny little break here while I get the stream set up for Pippa. Uh, talk about what makes a card powerful in universes to somebody who may be focused on things other than winning world championships. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, I think we're set up here.
We're
Hi,
set
Pippa.
up. Assemble! Yo, what's poppin', gamer?
I was gonna do the Pippa intro, and then I realized I had to make sure the connection. Gonna do the "What's poppin', gamers? It's your boy Ace Maneuvers back with another
And
orange
we're
card,
back.
blue card."
Am I the blue card in this scenario?
I'm definitely not the orange card.
All right, but we can't. I guess we could both be blue cards.
I
Tag
could
yourself
not.
in the comments. Are you an orange card or a blue card?
George is the orange card for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
George played Godzilla. George played Godzilla. He's got to be the orange guy. Although he did also play City Rampage, which is one of the most orange card, blue cards of all time.
Yeah, exactly. So he's even more of an orange card then.
Although I guess it's more of a blue card, orange card. We typically play the blue ones before the orange ones.
Yeah.
Might not actually translate that well, but I stole the name from Brett Hellman, who got the name from someone else, I think, anyways. So it has remained relevant through Tokoyami to Ghidorah to City Rampage, back to Ghidorah again. Actually, people are playing combined firepower in him.
Yeah, Ghidorah too. That character's sick.
The character's kind of
We
sick. I
just
don't know. I get
He's I think that he does like two things that are quote unquote unfair, which is really cool.
yeah. It's interesting because the games play out a lot like Mikasa, where it's like, man, this guy has 4 foundations, but he is going to play every attack in his deck right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Bippa, I wanted to ask, um, me and George, I don't know if you were able to tune in. Pretty much, we're mostly just like comparing powerful cards throughout the ages. We were talking a lot about, how the context of that differs based on what format you're in, of course. Um, how the power level might have seemed to have shifted from foundations to attacks, and yet we still get relatively the same ratio of attacks to non-attacks that get banned, right? So things might be a little
Yeah.
more consistent than we think. E-commit, draw one on a 2 diff is still a premium 6 years later, and that's more
Oh my
surprising than
gosh, it's
anything.
crazy.
Yeah.
I was one of the people that hated passing the torch, and it's crazy that I think it's actually like power crept passing the torch is actually
Yes.
just fine right now.
Yeah, it's really rough because the deadlock on it and the face down clear are super relevant, right? So it is kind of hard to
Absolutely.
actually compare the two. But when you talk about building a deck, I think you put it in for the same reason, right? You put it in for decommit, draw
Yeah,
one is good enough.
absolutely. The rest is just like bonus text.
Yeah, the rest is like very circumstantial unless you're like exactly Biolon.
Or Bridget.
True or Bridget.
Or technically, it also works in Beauregard as well. I have brewed that in Beauregard.
Okay. We always See, this is why I needed you here because George can tell us which cards are good, but I don't
Yeah.
think good is necessarily the end all be all of powerful. Would you agree, Pippa, that there are powerful cards out there that are not quote unquote good?
Absolutely. I think that there are cards can be powerful in very different ways, right? And not all of the ways a card can be powerful are necessarily good. Uh, and
Right.
of course, there are always like drawbacks, sometimes built into the card. The card I'm referencing right now that I really want to talk about because it's my current obsession is Air Force Engage. For those at home who are unaware, Air Force Engage is one of these new two-check attacks we got in Godzilla, and it has a very, very powerful line of text. It is an infinity card that says when I deal damage, you can search your discard for another infinity card and pick it up. So notably, it can pick up itself. I
Yes.
don't know how good this card is necessarily. The two check is rough, but it's certainly a powerful, powerful card.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about that one is it's printed 6 speed. So, like
Yeah. Yeah.
in a world where power tokens are like solving our damage crisis, and it even sacks a foundation for +2 to make it like a 4 diff 6 high 6. I think that
Yeah.
a lot of people are
It's
really
like
overlooking it, yeah, because of the 2 check. Which that's one of those things where it's hard for me to grasp like the idea that putting a 2 on a card makes it less powerful, but I would agree that it makes it less good. And so I think Air Force Engage is like a perfect example of a card that is theoretically bonkers, but as far as
yeah.
actually getting to use it, it might be pretty tough.
Yeah. I just wanted to yap about that one real quick, especially since we're on the topic of powerful and good cards. That one's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think another one that is powerful, but wasn't good was Midst of Despair. I think that was one of the
Midst of
more
Despair.
overrated cards, like one of the most hyped up cards that ended up not living up
Not
to the
doing a
hype.
whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a 4 diff that swings for printed 6. And similar to Air Force Engage, it solves its problem of being a 2 speed move by saying that if you've gained health, it gets +3 speed. And one of the better characters to come out with it was Ymir, which solved basically that problem, not
Yeah.
specifically, but it's clearly like Ymir was gaining health to get the damage pump, right? So it seemed like a perfect fit. It's a 4 diff, 5 high 6 that if it deals, you get to completely ignore progressive difficulty. And yet, there wasn't, I don't know, was there not enough high threats? If you were that far into your string, it didn't matter. Like, this is a character that is hyper building, so it doesn't need to ignore progressive. Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a combination. Hi, cat. My cat is climbing onto me. Uh, my cat has joined the podcast. Everyone say hi, cat.
Hi,
Uh,
cat. My cat is actually the reason I had to take a break. I got a text message from my parents that were like, "Hey, the cat's out front and all the doors are closed," and I was like, "That doesn't work," and now he's locked out. So I had to go rescue my cat.
wow. Good guy,
Yeah,
Sam.
they're like, "We're on our way to the store," and I'm like, "You couldn't just let him in?" I don't know, but he's locked inside now
That's good.
and very angry
Um,
at me. He is fucking pissed.
uh, what were we
Yeah,
on? Mist of
we were
Despair.
on Mist of
Yeah.
Despair and how like it's
Is
one of
is
those
kind of like a
cards.
Winmore card.
Right. It's one of those cards where it ends up not being good because they had to put basically 2 conditions on its power. And I didn't get to touch on this as much as I wanted to at George. We kind of got sucked up into it. But when I look for powerful cards, he was talking about cards that, like, what do I need to do to activate it? I look for self fueling cards. an echo attack that gives you momentum is really good. And I think one of the most
Yeah,
underrated cards is, you probably know which one I'm talking about already. Double Fist of the Mortal Flame
love that
is,
card.
yeah. Now, granted, you have to start with the momentum, so it's not truly self fueling in like the how easy can I get this off sort of way. But if you think about it as a free echo or as a pay to health to echo, that's better than almost all the other like replacement echoes out there. Um, I think
Yeah,
the
for sure. I mean, even just looking at a similar card from the same set in tray size, that one still requires like you to go down a resource
yeah,
in order to get the value.
Gray Size was a lot more played though because you needed the
That is
momentum.
a lot more free sometimes.
Yeah, it is a lot more. It's a lot quicker to get it online than it is to get the double fist online, um, especially for those symbols. So I think that's definitely like a big part of it, and also the damage equation. Everything about powerful cards, or at least in the sense for me of cards that end the game, pretty much revolves around how reliably can I put damage on this, or how freely can I put damage on to multiple things. And tray size is one of the best um, free damage, sponges you can have because you're going to get it
Yeah, the
twice.
recipients.
Yeah, a damage recipient. That's pretty well. That still makes it sound like you're hitting them. Um, but yeah, four low is a great stat line for a four diff to pump your damage into, and you pretty much lose a damage for the opportunity to do it a second time, which is super super strong. So, um, yeah, I think of cards that are essentially as free as possible. I want to do as few hoops as I can, which again I think is really more of the difference of like what makes a card good. Like what makes Trace Size good is the fact that you can, if you need to, destroy the foundation. And Trace Size is kind of a cool study case too, because if you have the momentum, you would almost always rather spend it to do that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Oftentimes, especially like, let's say we're mid to late into a game, you've managed to poke some, grab a momentum. That momentum cost is often like more free in the late game than the
Yeah.
foundation cost, especially if you're trying to string out.
Same thing with drive, right? You almost always would rather pay the drive with the momentum rather than the resources, so you can play more cards.
Yeah.
I think another case for like a powerful card that probably ends up in the not good category just because the dial for what makes a card playable is so razor thin, and I think
It is.
the slimmest of the margins is the control value. And I can pretty much guarantee that if No Mercy Percy was a three check, you would see this as
Oh,
like
that
a
card would be
staple.
crazy.
Order
Yeah,
decks would be like,
absolutely.
yeah, like order decks would be absolutely just going fucking crazy for this card.
Yeah. Even the just being able to have an echo cantrip, that's so echo cards are already like 2-in-1, and then having the cantrip, that would make that card basically a 4-in-1, right?
Yeah. And that's if you're not an inventor. Like so many non-inventors would be just absolutely loving a three check echo move that draws a card. Um, Unfortunately, you can't shuffle cards from your rival's discard pile. That'd be pretty sick right now in this format, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I've spoiler alert, I've been on Jet Jaguar a lot recently, because the graveyard hate is insane in this format.
Yeah. Yeah, discard hate is. I mean, maybe we need sweeping daggers back. I don't know. I'm just saying.
We already have bad sweeping daggers in Devour Your Power.
Doesn't that only hit
Um,
attacks though? Or doesn't it only hit
It does only hit
it only
attacks.
copies keywords, I mean.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
only copies keywords.
I should say they both only hit
Uh,
attacks, but uh yeah, that one only copies keywords. That one's it's like inventor's creation for your rival's Discord or discard.
yeah, yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
It's like a comrade's
Can,
creation. It's our discard pile.
our discard. Can I bring up a card real quick? That I've had my eyes on basically since reveal. Has seen negative play. Have you heard of the card Execute Orders?
Oh, wait, let me guess what it does because it's a 7 diff that I think it's the one that when you block with it, all foundations get +1 difficulty for the turn, and its blitz is like commit all 2 diffs in play.
Close. So you're kind of confusing it with Intimidating Command, which
Damn,
is
I
the commit
am.
all twos.
Yeah.
Execute Orders is a 5 difficulty
Oh, it's
3
add
tech,
the foundation
right?
back to your hand.
Yeah, and it gets
Okay.
speed equals to the difficulty. It's also, spoiler alert, a printed 6 mid 6 on a 5 diff.
Yeah. Yeah. I I have looked at that card so many times, and you know what always ends up happening truly with that card?
It gets cut in the maybe board.
I'm like never playing order simple characters.
You know what? That's also fair.
That's
Um,
the truest answer is anytime I make an order deck, it turns into an air chaos character and I cannot explain it. Or an air
yeah,
void
that happened
character.
with Batra. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't
Uh,
I I don't know what it is. Yeah, execute orders is a printed 6 mid 6 on a 5 div, which is something we used to see in like the Libra era. But I
yeah,
think
like this
for
is low-key like the big thing is that this card doesn't like do anything if you think about it, right?
right.
Because right, it debuilds one, right? And you're probably wanting to pick up something that like you used earlier, like a flip effect or something you built down. So it's getting 0 speed from the blitz usually. Sure.
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
And then the response is like breaker, but really bad because it only affects the rival's build. So it doesn't make the rival stop killing you, right? So
Yeah.
both of the lines of text are just kind of really cool, but not very good.
Right. So yeah, I it certainly doesn't stop the rival from killing you, which is tough. Um, when you block with it and your opponent goes, "Oh, I guess I'll just attack you more." That's not what I'm looking for from a block trick usually. And then
Yeah.
what's funny about execute orders is I don't think I've ever thought of it this way, but now that you've brought it up, um, the do you remember? I don't know what other people might have called it. I called it the overhaul kickflip. It's like the most basic overhaul play that really changed how I saw the character.
Okay.
So, have you ever played Overhaul and you play your first attack, and then I know you hate it, but you commit passing the torch to draw a card, and then
Oh,
and you do the Overhaul once per turn to play a face down, and then no matter what happens, block or not, you respond with Overhaul to flip passing the torch, and then you just build the passing the torch from your stage and build out the rest of your foundations, and you basically because you're rebuilding the passing the torch, as long as you don't commit anything on your build turn, you just like +1 to free card.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was like the most wheel spinny, like do nothing but get card advantage, and it was a huge part of how I saw a lot of the best overhaul players, using overhaul. If new training method was available, like that was also a really, really common like just do it just to do it, do it just to use it and
Yeah.
get anything out of this because you have no real other use for this ability this turn anyways. Execute orders might fall into like that category except it's a blitz speed, and so you can't even like open with it and like commit Violante or something. Like you have to have something already committed. so it's like harder to
All right.
use.
So watch and learn. Here's the deal. We played
Okay.
Dumbfounded. That's a really good card, right? We get 3 speed, and then we get to free build it at the end of the turn.
That's crazy. I can't tell you how much I hate that, but that's actual sauce.
I gotta play this now. Sheesh. I gotta
I
find
don't know.
Dumbfounded.
I don't know if I gotta play it. Is Dumbfounded, is that water attuned, or is that like earth, water,
It is
whatever?
Earth attuned.
It's
Earth
earth attuned.
attuned.
Earth order attuned. You're gonna be hard pressed to find that combo at all, much less a good character.
You see, I am a Scanlan player.
Oh, okay. I'm a big Scanlan fan too, and Scanlan, he's putting some juicy stuff in that stage. You might actually be
You might
down just to
just
get
want to
zero
pick up.
speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not hating this as much as I did 5 minutes ago. Um, but so that's what's really funny, right? Is execute orders has like two independently really powerful effects, but and it doesn't even have strictly bad numbers, but it's just
Yeah.
not doing enough freely, I think is the best way to put it. Because the combo that's making people, that's making us kind of pop off about it is one where it's like, okay, dumbfounded does make this free, right?
Yeah. And that's like being one of the things that like can make a card powerful but not necessarily good is the reliance on how many other pieces to set up, right? Like
Yeah.
as you mentioned earlier, the reliability, the ease of access of these cards. And so this one just like its ease of access for like the best case scenario is still like a really hefty cost.
Yeah, I think it's really funny because good cards are oftentimes actually pretty boring, and good cards. I mean, and when I say good cards, I guess I don't even really mean good cards strictly. I just mean like the cards that people are playing, And if you look at like the world's top decks, the ones that are performing, the
Yeah.
overwhelming similarities are there. And it's cards that draw, cards that interfere with the rival stage, and cards that don't necessarily cost you anything, or they are refunding that cost, like blood sucking universe, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so it's cards that don't spend momentum unless it's hacker extraordinaire that gives it to you. We're playing it alongside cards like strategic meeting and a bunch of tension moves. So there's cards that probably aren't good if they don't have a supporting cast. And I would argue those cards aren't strictly powerful, right? In the traditional sense. Like, for example,
Yeah.
I don't think Thunderspear Barrage is a very powerful card by itself. It's a card that when you look at it, you immediately think, oh, look at all these other cards I can play next to it, right?
That's fair.
When I look at Walk the Dog, I think of how many cards are going to let me play Walk the Dog. When I look at Thunderspear Barrage, I think of how many cards are going to let me play Thunderspear Barrage late in a turn, maybe, or how many cards are going to give me the momentum for it, or what is a good place I can put Thunderspear Barrage, like in my attack string, so it opens up other things. Because maybe traditionally with echo moves, it's not really about it being like a fast move for a lot of damage. It's about you not having enough blocks, so it goes really well with other low difficulty stuff, right? So Thunderspear Barrage also a good meta pick into the breaker defense of Worlds and into the Mark Tyner check hack, right? So like Inspiring
Yeah,
Song,
absolutely.
yeah, Inspiring Song doesn't check hack Thunderspear Barrage until you start to play another move, basically. Um, so yeah, so I look at stuff like that where Fast Hybrid Chimera Kraken basically has a reprint. I guess it doesn't hit assets, but there's a Jamie card, right? I think it's called something Sway. I forget all of his card
Oh
names.
yeah, yeah. It's I know the one you're talking about, the bad Vast Hybrid Chimera
Phantom Sway,
Kraken.
yeah. And it's drive one as a cost. And it's this card could probably be a 4 diff and people wouldn't play it because it's going to ask you to spend a momentum or commit a foundation to commit and freeze a rival foundation. And yet, I bet you that there's a lot of decks out there. Okay, I probably would have said this pre City Rampage ban, but there's probably a lot of
Damn.
decks back when you had the check bonus from City Rampage, or even like TOT, Titan of Terror, playing this for free, where you paying one of your foundations to freeze the rival foundation, and then you get to build out ahead of them, right? Is still worth it, or if you get momentum as freely as we talk about, this again, this is a card where you have to start thinking, what other cards can I put in my deck to prop this up? But I bet if you do, I think it's going to be relatively as powerful for you as Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken was in the practical application of I'm playing this to follow it with attacks to win the game either now or next turn.
Yeah, absolutely. I think part of it is also so there's obvious synergy, right? Like the sum is more than the the individual.
The whole of the
And
sum of its parts is greater than the whole.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the saying.
That's what my
How
dad
does that
always says
saying make
about the
sense?
That's what my dad always says about the band Rush.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have opinions on the band
Or I think
Rush?
he says the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's
The
it.
whole is
There we go.
greater.
You had it backwards.
Yeah, I did have it backwards. Yeah, it's the whole is greater. Always remember the whole is greater.
The whole is greater. Same, so true, bestie. Uh, but there are definitely cards that may not be like standalone powerful. But like they're very synergy driven, as you've been mentioning, right? Like
Yeah.
Thunder Spear Barrage. I would argue that that's a pretty powerful card, right? Like
Okay.
any low diff echo card is pretty powerful. It just carries stats really well. Um, but I would agree on that. Like Sway is not a very powerful card necessarily. Um, but it does have synergy points that like can cover it up, and maybe you get like bonus triggers. Like maybe you have on commit triggers, like forceful negotiator that you can enable, right? So
Yes. Ooh, okay,
cards,
now we're cooking.
yeah. So like in some areas, the restrictions on a card almost bring additional possibilities for ways to enable or break it, even with things that you might think of as cost traditionally.
Yeah.
I let me try and find a good example.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where the quality of a card and the power of a card definitely go hand in hand. If a card doesn't get played, it can't be that powerful, right? If no one's wielding that power, it's useless.
I think that hot take. I think a lot of powerful cards just don't get played, uh,
Okay.
just because of one, the community is really small, right? Like
Yes.
there are always going to be just not enough players to play all the cool ones, right? I also think that uh, something really, I guess, swaying the meta is that this community loves new card syndrome, right? We love playing the cool new cards whenever a set releases. It's sick, right?
I
Uh,
I was talking to someone the other day that I'm like the opposite. I'm
same.
aside from when I played like Bert Holt, I'm always playing like last formats deck or something. like
Yeah,
like I played
I like hipster characters.
Yeah, like Hanji, like when I played Hanji Zoe, it was kind of already established as like the Nine Titans version, and I think I played Berthold, and those are like the more recent characters I think I typically play. Like I
Yeah.
played Godzilla, I think with Back Alley Haymaker or something. Like were those ever
I
legal
know
together?
back in the day you loved playing Denki.
Yeah, I did play some Denki. It's the only character. I think him and Tokoyami were the only characters I played twice at like regional level or something. Can't remember.
Yeah.
I might have played
I
Momo twice and just
remember
sucked twice.
I remember you, I think is you owned me on Denki during a webcam event at some point.
You were playing Sero 2, I think.
That makes sense,
And I
yeah.
sided into fourth kind. Do you remember that?
Now I do.
Yeah, I remember because I technically misplayed and actually cheated by not having one damage, but you scooped. And someone had to point it out to me later.
Wow, you
Did you
cheated?
did we not talk about? I thought someone told you about that.
No.
You had like okay, so you had like a floating -1 speed from ice gliding, and then
Oh, I
I
do remember this.
yeah, I played out
Yeah.
the fourth kind hand, I'm pretty sure. And then I played Recipro Burst, the one that gets speed equal to damage. And I committed,
Yeah.
we were like fast tracking because it was like the end of time. And I was calculating it for exact lethal based on the speed. But we didn't put the -1 from ice gliding. And I ended up committing all of
I
my
do remember
foundations,
this.
including a self sack. So, like, theoretically I misplayed and could have just kept the self sack up for the one damage, but we were like speeding through it because you were like, okay, yeah, this is this much speed added to it and like scooped. But yeah, technically I needed to commit fourth kind for that.
Wow. SMH my head.
Yeah. But I
Cheating.
won game one with Denki, and that's what matters. That guy's
That's
cool.
funny. Those were good times. I miss NHA.
They should bring back ice gliding. I know a couple people who love that card.
I would really like a nice gliding reprint. That would be a good one. I think
Ice
there are a lot of like MHA era cards that if we can like work around the names, right? Uh
ice gliding you could use.
we
You just have to have another ice
ice gliding,
character.
yeah.
That's a Rebel
Yeah.
Frontier promo if I've ever
Yeah.
seen one.
I've been thinking about Rebel Frontier a lot.
Me
And
too. I
just
was
like the
hoping to get
reprint
an interview.
possibilities.
I was really hoping to get an interview with
Yeah.
Hitch about it, but it hasn't come around. So
I my my dream is that they reprint, and this would fit perfectly. Meteor Shower.
oh, that might be cool. I'm really hoping that we get reprints that aren't necessarily like character driven, but are world building
Yeah.
driven. Like I want like locations on foundations. I want like spaceship assets and like yeah, I want meteor shower to be like literal meteors fucking raining down on a spaceship or something.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, I'm super down for that. I want um you could do like you probably couldn't do like USS Cerritos, right? Like that's probably not cool. But you could do like military airship and it's like a cool spaceship instead of a blimp.
Yeah. I think that you could also do like zero. You could just do Ochaka's kick because she's like space themed, I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean
Home
UniVersus
run comet, let's go!
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could do. I mean you could do like tattered costume. You could do potato, but it's in space. Come on. What's that movie where it's like, was it Matt Damon living on Mars by himself? And
Oh
he's
yeah,
got to
yeah,
grow
yeah.
potatoes. Do like an
I
homage to
remember
that.
that one.
That'd be sick.
That'd be good.
Yeah, but that's not. We're not talking about powerful cards. We gotta stay on topic.
Yeah, I was
Rebel
just
Frontier is
thinking
super
that.
sick though. I'm excited to see what they do with it. But yeah, I think it's really interesting because what's really made me think about it is people. I'm like equally surprised and not surprised people were complaining about Titan of Terror because the form to just have a card for free is
That's
fucking
crazy.
bonkers.
Yeah.
It's actually the most like game breaking idea warping thing I've ever seen printed on a UniVersus character, like maybe a card ever. Um, the length you'd have to
I
go
can definitely
to,
see that.
yeah, like
Absolutely.
the length you'd have to go to play a card for free in any other style of effect is like always untenable, like just undoable. Um, and the restriction of it being like realistically, it's the most common difficulty of attacks that are played. I think. Maybe not for this last worlds outside of like Godzilla specific, if only because the Nagori Yukis were like really low. Like the Nagori Yuki deck was a really low curve, I'm pretty sure. And I think that there was like a
Yeah, I think
surprising
that
amount.
it kept.
But
Yeah.
even like the Zeke Jaeger that was in top eight had like mostly five diffs and like a four diff and a six diff. You know? It was like three Godzillas in tops. The Midoriya decks it played a five diff as their win condition. Um, the Mikasa deck that top had dual needle and dust attack, so it played more five diffs than the other versions of it. But that's like the other one where I was thinking, I'm like, oh, maybe there was some low curve characters. You know, like there's a Bridget in there, but the Bridget is City Rampage Bridget, psych motherfucker. It's
Yeah,
all five,
of
you know.
course.
It's
I
what
mean,
were the
there's
Ryu decks?
technically
Yeah, the Ryu decks were like five
Calvin
diffs mostly.
Tahan played a pretty low curve Nejire Hado deck, but that was more like a control style
Right.
deck, with
Yeah.
utility attacks.
Yeah. So like it's really interesting for me to think about where the relative impact of power tokens is also pretty good. Like when I think about Godzilla Titan of Terror's token generation, it's not that impressive. Aside from the fact that you can play cards that get them for free, you know? Like once you start playing Destructive Heat
Yeah,
Ray consistently, all of a sudden that's like a much bigger deal, you
you
know?
seem to be cutting out.
Oh, am I? Whoops. My internet might be failing.
Oh, you're back.
I'm back. I'm good.
You're
You can
good.
hear
I
me?
can hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
like the big thing is that power tokens, they're like delayed. They're it's like really obvious. It's what they're meant to, but it's delayed damage that you
Yeah.
can just pump into anything, and being able to just generate them consistently uh, gives you such crazy threat, especially over the course of even a mid-range type game, right?
Right. It it's really funny because I like power tokens in the sense that they let me play a lot of the goofy uh text-based cards that otherwise wouldn't be good. You know, like cards that don't do enough all of a sudden do enough when I can add 4 damage to them.
Well,
Um
cards like,
Invisible infiltration is a big one.
yeah,
Playing unblockable Toru 2, where I get to have 4 Breaker 2 attacks in my deck, and then I also get to tutor up the combo to make anything unblockable. Power tokens have been like so good for that.
yeah.
And yet when I
It
look at
definitely adds a lot of. Oh, you go.
I was gonna say, but when I look at power token generation, it seems so slow. Like on paper, it seems like no character except Anguirus is actually generating power tokens at a rate that would make me really want to invest in them. And yet, if you play against Titan of Terror, they have 8 power tokens by turn 3 because they've been playing Destructive Heat Ray like as much as they can. Um,
Yeah, that card is crazy.
yeah,
Uh
I love playing Frenzied Dive, especially in Benimaru, where I can like make anything powerful and bump the powerful up and stuff like that. Um, but at the same time, like they already sack for 2 damage, so it's like only impressive if I'm bumping the powerful number up. But if I but like these symbols don't generate power tokens that well unless I'm playing Destructive Heat Ray. Like Frenzied Dive has fire and so does Heat Ray. And so it's really tough because I think overall power tokens aren't that strong or that big of a deal. Um, but the decks that are generating power tokens are making them look like one of the best mechanics ever fucking made.
Yeah, absolutely. The difference between like the theory of it and then the actual practical playing of it was so massive. I know a lot of people got shocked by just the difference in how crazy they ended up being because it really lets you it's kind of like with Overhaul, where he gets to choose when he adds the damage at the best possible time.
Right.
Power tokens are kind of like delayed Overhaul triggers if you really think about it, because you're only going to pop them on the moves you know you're going to hit.
Yeah, they're like a little more free, right? You don't have to flip a resource,
Yeah,
and like they go away forever, but they were generated probably more freely. So it's yeah, it's pretty interesting to think about. I think where the the deck, like I play a Protector of Life a lot, right? And I'll get like one power token over the course of a match, and it probably didn't matter at all. And then I'll play um, one destructive heat ray and get two of them, and all of a sudden that was like the game-winning difference. Like it's so
yeah,
weird how the different styles of decks, right? Because the destructive heat ray deck is almost certainly like a more aggressive, probably more streamlined offensive deck, whereas the decks I'm playing Protector of Life in are like
yeah.
more slow, more
You're cutting out
frothy.
again,
Uh oh,
unfortunately.
I don't know.
Oh,
It might be my microphone. It might be on your end. I don't know.
it might be the microphone.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been having issues with this thing for a while. I scrapped like one whole video on power tokens just because I listened to it back and um it was dropping like the end of every
Hmm.
sentence. So I've been working
Yeah,
like
I
with
think
my
it might be having that issue again.
huh. Okay. Well, I'll try to get it fixed. Hopefully we can power through this. There's only a little bit more I wanted to talk about because I wanted to get your opinion on what you think the most powerful card in standard is, but I also want to answer Salvador's question in chat. Do you think a power token cap should be implemented? And I don't think so. I hate
Uh,
having maximums
no.
on things.
Yeah, it just be like a arbitrary cap for no real reason, right?
Yeah.
I think like the there are games, any game that where the opponent gets to like let's say like 10 power tokens, right? Like and then they're in token deadlock, right?
Token
Um
deadlock.
that's like yeah, token deadlock uh from power tokens.
Yeah.
And you can't generate more than 10, right? I think that that is like sure it can happen. It's probably not optimal and it's just kind of like arbitrary. Especially like looking at other games with tokens or resources or anything, like they don't generally limit you to an arbitrary number.
Yeah. And the idea of like one of the things I've liked about recent designs is people like to track things. They like to have like a goal or like a game that they're playing kind of outside of dealing damage and winning the game. And
Yeah.
amassing a bunch of power tokens is part of that. And on your way to
Yeah, it's
winning
part
the
of the
game,
fantasy.
yeah, on your way to winning the game, having crushing impact give you +8 speed and then +16 damage, like that's kind of it. And like if you do cap it, the biggest thing about it is like by putting a cap on them, it really changes the the structure, I think, of like when you use resets and stuff like that. because if you can only have like let's
Yeah.
say 5, because again I don't even know like what would the cap be, because most games my opponents don't get 10, and it's pretty rare that they get 5, and 5 still seems like a lot, but it's never like too many. I don't know, but so once you put a cap on it, it changes the math for a lot of things like crushing impact, and it changes the math where it's like, okay, I know I can use my reset safely now if they use 3 of their 5 tokens. Like
Yeah.
it becomes a lot less reliable. Whereas using a reset against somebody with like 8 tokens is like kind of pointless most of the time. But yeah, the if there was a cap, they needed to put it in when they introduced it. It's too late.
Yeah.
I think,
It's definitely hard to like retroactively adjust a mechanic.
yeah, if you wanted to nerf power tokens at this point, you should reprint Stone Man. Do you remember what Stone Man does, Pippa?
I do remember what Stone Man does.
Yeah.
He is the anti-power token
He
man.
is the most, yeah, he's the most anti-power token character. Or telekinetic mastery. Give me telekinetic mastery back.
Telekinetic mastery.
If power tokens weren't your attack, yeah, that's true. Stone Man could go off. Yeah, turn all of these into -2 speed. Thank you. Yeah, so I think they did a really good job with the power tokens being used for other things. I think that there's the cycle is really cool. I think frenzied dive is like a cool way to do it. Corona
Yeah.
beam, despite the unfortunate name, is like what those symbols would do, like turn them into sealing things. Was kind of inevitable with the amount of sealing stuff they've put into the game, and with like how much anti seal they have, because Wide Awake is like super good, but a deck that
Wide Awake
is
is
yeah, but a deck that's like dedicated to sealing stuff is just gonna go, okay, next attack, seal something again. So you get into an arms race pretty quick. So I'm a fan of that. Do you have like a favorite use for power tokens, Pippa?
I know you hate this card. You have very strong feelings about this card, but I like Armor of the Wolf.
Okay, Armor of the
Armor of the
Wolf's pretty
Wolf with
crazy.
power tokens is pretty crazy because it basically says +1 damage to each power token.
Yes, yeah, and that lets me do EX a lot more often, I find. I am I've been a big fan of Armor of the Wolf recently because I'm playing Benny Maru, and he technically has like 3 enhances he can play from his character.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you get the momentum, you give it powerful, and then using powerful is like the third one. So I think that's pretty cool. Um, I think for me personally, the most fun I've had using power tokens has been with it's the most boring answer, but it's fully charged blast. Like having fully
Yeah, it's
charged
just the
blast.
big one. It's the biggest
Yeah.
one.
Well, I like that I'm sacrificing foundations to generate the power tokens, so it doesn't feel like free. Because destructive heat ray, it's just get to, which
That's
is like
that's so free. Yeah.
yeah. But like fully charged blast, like I have to play a higher diff move, and then I can generate power tokens at a way higher cost. Um, yeah, it's Armor of the Wolf, but it's 1 speed. Yeah, exactly. And then it's very much the same gameplay of Armor of the Wolf, where it's like, how many enhances do I have matters here? Except now I'm translating them into speed, and in a way that's more costly than crushing impact. And I think fully charged
Yeah.
blast does a good job of giving me the reward. Like on paper, fully charged blast should be unfucking playable when you look at heat ray and crushing impact, unless you're literally just playing them all together. Because like, if you have 8 power tokens, crushing impact is 12 low for 22. But if you have 8 power
Yeah.
tokens, fully charged blast is 14 mid for 22. So like the the rate at which you get off fully charged only is better because you actually generate them. Um, so I think that one's pretty cool. I do, again, I mentioned it earlier, the monumental drop kick, saying if I have two or more power tokens, just draw two, discard two. I really needed it to like do something with the power tokens, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It'd be I'm surprised we didn't get like a we kind of did. We got commit a power token, draw a card.
Yes.
It would have been cool. I'm not sure what
There is
kind
a
of card
sack
you would be
too.
able to print it on.
There's one that's there's a I think it's a Shin Godzilla card that's a two diff flip draw card, and then you can sack two power tokens to draw another card.
Is there?
It,
Let
it's
me
like
check
meeting
this.
Hanji
Is
but
there
for power
set
tokens.
meeting Hanji but for power tokens?
Yeah, it's like you can draw a card or you can draw more cards if you stack power token. I don't know, it's not really the same, but that's how I think of it in my head. It's pretty costly if you're not committing the power tokens as well.
Yeah,
Is the biggest
you
issue.
can flip, draw a card. You may sacrifice two power tokens. If you do, draw two instead.
Right. So that one is a little tough because it's not quite as free as Defiant Roar, but Defiant
Yeah.
Roar is attuned. So you could theoretically find the deck, right, where you commit to draw with Defiant Roar and then you sack them with drawing power to draw more.
Yeah, I guess. I
I
mean, how much that seems like you're a little bit in magical land.
I mean the hard
Magical
part is
hypothetical land.
yeah, the hard part is drawing power doesn't share any symbols with destructive heat ray or fully charged blast. Like that's
Yeah.
really the problem is you're on Shin Godzilla symbols for generating uh power tokens plus your character has earth. So but I don't think there's that many I don't think like any of the power token generating cards are attuned actually. If they are, they're like the common bad versions, right?
Yeah.
Like I think all the attuned cards reference if you have a power token, um,
Yeah.
or they
The
sacrifice
attune
them.
cycle is really cool. They sacrifice them for all the different effects.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. Is there? I guess the deadlock cards are attuned and give you one in deadlock, so that kind of counts.
Yeah.
Um, there is. You have. Girl, if you have a, there's a lot of stuff that references having one for sure. Um, I also think rampant growth is like underrated. The life sack to ignore progressive is like actually insane if
Two
you can
power
generate the
tokens is a
token.
lot,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's true. Any prog stuff is pretty good.
yeah.
Uh I think that the cost of sacrificing power tokens is almost like if you're sacrificing two power tokens, that's 4 damage. That's almost like one attack's worth of damage.
It's a whole four diff.
It's a whole 4 diff,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It's I'm
So
looking
they kind of
for.
have to be powerful effects. I've been messing around with a few of these really cool ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been messing around. Which one is it? Or is it Colossal Stare Down? Have you read Colossal Stare Down? It's the
That's
one that where you sacrifice three, but you get to rip a card out of the rival's hand.
I yeah. I was looking at a malicious assault like Rodan list for a long time, and I was
Yeah, that
trying.
card is cool.
Yeah, I was trying so hard to generate power tokens and it just wasn't happening. Like I was like, this is
Yeah.
Space Godzilla
It's like
only.
the The
And
symbols that have good generation have it really good, but the symbols that have not good generation have it really bad.
yeah, and then that reminds me of the Critical Role character that was like really close to being broken, but they made them to lose all their damage pump with which is Yasha. So when you play a discard deck, you have two equations. You have discard their whole hand, and then you have add enough damage. And even
Yep.
characters in the past that added like up to 3 damage to a move on every move after the first didn't really add enough damage. And Yasha is like the perfect example of we made it powerful, so we couldn't make it good. You know, Destoroyah is
Yeah.
right there. Like those are powerful effects, but they're not good because they take so long to get there. Right? They have too much of an
Yeah.
investment. And Yasha specifically is like, okay, now throw away all your damage pump. Yeah, they can't block, but you sacked 6 damage for Colossal Stare Down, and you sacked like 3 damage on every move from Yasha to do that. So pretty similar damage numbers you have to give up to discard their hand.
Yeah. It's that was definitely very unfortunate about that character. That character is so cool.
True. Oh, Colossal Stare Down. Yeah, it's one of the few discards on defense. That's actually really smart. I didn't even think about using it to like stay alive. Now I'm gonna have to brew this card. Thanks, asshole. Uh, because
You're welcome.
I hate discard effects so fucking much. Oh, I was calling Jose an
I
asshole
know you
before.
do.
Also,
Oh, I see.
also you. Because you are the
Wow.
one who brought it up actually, so it really is your fault.
It is.
So let me get your opinion on what do you think is the most powerful card in standard? It doesn't have to be the most good card, right? Like I guess we never really got what is your definition of a powerful card? You want to include that in your answer to kind of explain it, but what do you think is the most powerful card in standard?
Most powerful card in standard. There are too many cards in standard. How many cards are there in standard, Jarvis? There's 2,100, almost 2,200 cards in standard.
Yeah. That includes the
Uh,
tokens. You can
I think,
your answer can be power
uh,
tokens.
you know what? I think my answer, the most powerful card in standard right now, he is top of the mind. I'm just gonna say Titan of Terror. I think
Yeah.
that what he does is very game breaking. And I think that he's very pushed, which is like fine. They should push the cool characters that the set is based around, right?
Yeah.
But what he does is fundamentally like on a different axis from everyone else in the game.
Okay. I can pretty much agree with that. I think Titan of Terror fits everyone's definition of powerful, I think. Um
Yeah.
Even though theoretically they give below average stats, like if you think about it, they give +4 damage over a turn, but the fact that you can pick and choose where that damage goes means you'll probably get relatively the same amount of damage from your average early game attack string as a Ghidorah or anyone who's putting like 2 to 3 damage on every move. You're probably only going to get
Yeah.
realistically, right? Like 2 to 3 damage from a partial block and or a move that went through anyways. So if you think in your mind, right, if Titan of Terror is only spending power tokens when it's gonna matter, they're probably giving an adequate amount of damage compared to something like Godzilla One, outside of like the super nutty 6 attack string turns. Um, Chat saying the most powerful card in standard is probably Queen. That was close to my answer. Queen
Queen is
has been
pretty up there.
Queen has been my answer because I'm not a numbers gamer. I'm a text gamer, and I think Queen is up there. Except the use case for the top blitz to add a foundation to your card pool and draw a card in practice has been so low, which is like it's such a
Yeah.
weird thing to think about. Where the this
It's so
card,
unfortunate that a card that tutors a foundation from your discard and draws a card, like that's the worst text on it.
Right. Right. Like that's how powerful it is that you don't even want to use a really powerful effect on it because the other ability to just clear your card pool and get a resource from a previous attack is that nutty. So Queen is up there. Um Queen doesn't stop my rival from doing stuff. So Batra was like really high on people's list. George said Batra arrives for theirs. Um,
Yeah, that's fair. That
but
card is pretty messed up.
yeah, yeah, I think Titan of Terror is probably my truest answer too right now, as far as like just strictly looking at power of cards and how I define power. Of course, we talked about is I think of what can make an impact on the game like every time you use it. What makes an impact? What ends the game? What changes the game? And Titan of Terror's form is like kind of doing that like all the time. There's definitely turns where Queen of the Monsters needs other cards to be useful. You need to have something to build. You need to have momentum if you want to use that tutor ability. Stuff like that. Military airship is pretty high on my list. I think my
Yeah.
hot take for this video, for this stream, is people should be playing like 3 copies of military airship in a deck that's going to play it. You should want to see it early. That's my hot take. So I think
Uh, that's a pretty hot take. I'll give you that one.
it feels bad to draw multiples, but man, do games end a lot sooner when I have access to it. And Hacker Extraordinaire is gone. Um, Bass Hybrid Chimera Kraken's not there. It's just people
Yeah,
aren't.
there's like zero asset hate in this format.
Yeah, it's just people
There's
aren't.
Titanstone Knuckles.
Yeah, people aren't fast building it like they were, and it feels really good to fast build it. It does not feel that good to play it on a 3 and then wait till your next turn to use it because you almost always get forced into using it defensively to pick up filled with doubt or something like. So, I think airship is like up there for like a card that is really really powerful, but it's got all the riders. It's got like the wrong card type. It's got the difficulty. It's got the unique keyword. It's got the lack of support. That's making it not a good card. But I've been playing a ton of Tricky Spinner, and Airship is, arguably better Tricky Spinner when you activate it. So,
Yeah, Tricky Spinner, that's one of the cool ones. I like that one.
yeah, Tricky
Definitely
Spinner,
a powerful card.
that's one of the ones that's really made me think about this discussion because I would definitely argue that Tricky Spinner needs to be like a 3 div. And I would definitely argue it's a powerful card, but it's only good in so few certain situations, or I only really feel good about playing it in Benny Maru so far, and maybe one or two other decks that are like getting momentum off the character, but only getting one effect off Tricky Spinner is not good.
Yeah.
Um,
It's definitely one of those cards where it's like a build around where if
yeah,
you can enable both parts of it, and your strategy is based on that and reaping the most rewards, it's crazy. It is definitely one of the cool build arounds from the Guilty Gear set, which they introduced a lot of with the modal but double if you've gotten
choose
to
both. Yeah.
momentum cards.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
choose both cycle is some of my favorites, and it is funny because Benny is good at both of the ones he has access to. He likes them a lot.
Yeah, he is.
Walking Fortress with Sensisu is a baller time. That's all I'm gonna say. Um,
That's so fun.
yeah, tutor and attack to pick up. The only thing about it is you have to like Walking Fortress, then play a high diff move, then play Sensisu, then build a foundation, then play the move you tutored. But like that's good enough. Um, but so you
Yeah.
said Titan of Terror. I said basically Titan of Terror. I'll put just to be a little different. I'll put Queen of the Monsters as my answer because that is the card I've been focused on the most. And I think it's like no surprise that these are all cards that I think unlock other cards. Like George said, Batra arrives. It
Yes.
it protects you from a lot of breakers. It protects you from getting your stuff canceled, getting your stuff. Um, a big thing about Batra arrives is canceling and sealing Guardian Angel has been like a big deal for a lot of my decks recently. So it enables you to play the game and denies your rival the ability to play it. Titan of Terror is just playing the game better than pretty much every other deck. And Queen of the Monsters is making every other card in your deck better, both the ones you play before it and the ones you play after it. Um,
Yep.
I think those are all great examples of powerful cards. For a long time, I was saying Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken was the best attack in Standard, but it has finally rotated. And I think it's a good example of power versus good in when we talked about sway, where it's a powerful phantom sway. It's a powerful effect, but it's just not a good card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things, there's a lot of dials you can twist and turn, and now that we've had these erratas, would you say that City Rampage is still a powerful card as we wrap this up?
It definitely is a powerful card. I still think I think that UVS players don't like touching cards after they've been hit, but I think it could still find a place in some sort of more mid-rangey type deck instead of the aggro decks that it's mostly been fueling. And I think that's cool. I think it would be it's really neat to have a like high difficulty bomb action that enables your offense. Is just a bit too free. But I definitely still think it is a powerful card, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think it's definitely not as good. You gotta find one of the smaller hoops to actually jump through, at least in current standard. You know, it's like just open with a tension attack as Titan of Terror, and then you can still play Rampage for free on turn two, you know?
Yeah.
And like the 1/1 and the 2 to the check probably won't matter in half your games at least on your opener. So play Hunter's Ally, build strategic meeting. We are in the same place we were, just we didn't have 1/1, you know?
Yeah.
So if there's any character that can solve it, it's probably um, Titan of Terror. Luckily, I think Mark Tyner is probably never going to get touched again. I think that they cutting the check bonus and the check hack in half is probably enough that like you can't, which that was their goal, right? Was that you can't just like punish people for trying to play the game throughout most of it.
Yeah.
The and I do agree with them. I think I talked with a couple of people at Worlds, and you know some employees, and we all kind of agreed that making it so your rival can fail it just doesn't do enough, doesn't change enough about how miserable
Yeah,
people play.
it just says instead of committing to foundations, it says discard a card.
Yeah, because before the only thing it really changes is I can say I'm willing to discard this card if I check bad, you know, and the only thing it would have really done is it would bring him in line with like the conventional check hack style, which is conventionally you let bad checks go and you hack good checks because you don't want, you know, conventionally they let your rival fail it without ending the turn. If they wanted to keep the turn ending clause, that like if they added the it won't end the turn to this, it just means you check hack a 5 instead of a 3 now. And I don't think that that's
Yeah.
really that big of a deal. It also does mean that you probably can't play multiple 7 diffs on turn 2 by committing
Yeah.
assets and stuff. So I'm happy with that one. Are you happy with the Tyner errata?
Uh
Is it too far?
I
You wanted to play Tyner prison longer?
A little bit. I'm gonna be honest. I think
Yeah.
that character is actually kind of fine. I think that he
Okay.
is negative play experience, for sure.
But
But
is it?
I
But
act
isn't the fun
I
part still
actually think
intact?
that guy's kind of fine.
Isn't the fun
That's my
part
hot
still
take.
intact?
But twice per turn is so much more fun.
I I think getting to do the double unique stuff should be the fun part.
That is fair. The double unique part is like the cool text, right?
Yeah.
But it's not the fun text.
Okay. Well, Pippa just wants to commit war crimes. I see. I see.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you once again to George for joining us earlier. Thank you, Pippa,
Thank you,
for hanging
George.
out. I really
Thank
want to
you,
have this.
Sam, for inviting me.
Yeah, I really want to have this discussion like with other human beings rather than talking by myself at a camera. So I appreciate you joining in last minute. Again, if you guys have seen this power token on stream for the whole night here, it is available at the Trading Post local championship. You can use exclamation LC in the chat to get the link to the event. Top 8 is all going to get this awesome power token. If you see on the video in the actual version, there is a little dial so you can keep track of how many power tokens you have. It goes all the way up to 15. Is 15 the cap? Should we cap it at 15?
Yeah, cap it at 15.
Cap it at 15. All right, you heard it here, folks. Cap it at 15. I'm going to be Sam Tate. This was Pippa Sad. We had a great time. I hope you did too. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.